Hey guys, welcome to my Agent Carter review. This series will basically be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe coverage that I'm doing, or still doing. I won't be covering the Agent Carter one-shot during these reviews. These reviews will be episode by episode reviews. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is because it's easier to give you guys episode by episode reviews than me sitting in a dark room writing a full season review and you having to wait having to wait until the end of the year just to get the review. And I'm gonna try and get the TV shows done more regularly through this method than sit there and actually review full season worth of stuff. And I'm guessing that you guys actually seem to enjoy the episode by episode reviews, so that's what we're gonna do. So this is episode 1, and very similar, it has a very similar vibe to the Marvel one-shot Agent Carter and the Captain America First Avenger. The series does a very, very good job at creating the similar tones that were presented in those shows. And I think it was really, really effective at actually setting up that tone and sort of creating a really interesting story in that kind of era. So the story takes place after the events of Captain America First Avenger, but just before the events of the Agent Carter series. So it's basically right in the middle between the Captain America First Avenger and the Agent Carter one-shot. And the story basically is that Peggy Carter still continues to work for the SSR, but has a very reduced role. She is seen by the men in the SSR as a woman, and isn't really well regarded or respected in her profession. But it turns out that she is the best at what she does, and that's why Howard Stark hires her to find out who stole his weapons. Some organization has actually come in and stolen all of his weapons, and this has caused Howard Stark to be on the run. Okay, I actually really thought that how the show set itself up was really good. I will go on record and actually say that this show was a lot better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and comparing the two pilots together, Agent Carter had a much stronger opening than the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. pilot. Also, it helps that Hayley Atwell's portrayal of Peggy Carter is really, really likeable. And, well, for a start, Hayley Atwell is beautiful. The clothing that she wears, even in this first episode, are fantastic. And she wears this really iconic red hat, and I thought that should have been her iconic look. That should have been her costume. Because Hayley Atwell just looks beautiful. She looks beautiful, she looks sexy, and to be quite honest with you, she's a great, great character, and Hayley Atwell does such a great job at portraying that. And the show really has so many vibrant colours, like with the costume, and just what you see, in the show itself. It's so vibrant and interesting, and it's very, very different from the Marvel movies that we've been getting. Because technically speaking, Agent Carter is part of the Phase 2 movies, and the Phase 2 universe. And what's really interesting is that as Phase 2 got darker, it was nice to see that Agent Carter kept that lightness. There's a really interesting scene that really parallels the Iron Man 2 scenes in regards to Howard Stark. And it's very, very clear that Howard Stark's weapons that he created are going onto the black market. And I found this really, really interesting, because already we are seeing a character, and we are seeing Howard Stark had the same problems that Tony Stark had in Iron Man 2 and in Iron Man, where Howard Stark is developing weapons that he doesn't understand, and he's developing technology that isn't ready to be used in the world. And I found that Howard Stark's character arc really, really interesting, and how much it actually reflects Tony Stark's character arc as well. Some people have criticized the show being too sexist. But that is the whole point of this show. The show is designed to be sexist. And we have a lot of remarks aimed at Peggy Carter in this episode. And I can't complain about this, because this is a period piece. Women were, far often than not, this is how women were treated. Women didn't have the same rights as men did back in this time, and it just was a very, very different world to the one that we are used to. And that's why I actually didn't mind the sexist remarks, whereas ordinarily I probably would have in a more modern movie. But no, the sexist remarks were great in my opinion. Well, not great, but you know what I mean. They they kept the same tone that the show was trying to portray. Edwin Jarvis. Edwin Jarvis was great. He really, really was a very, very entertaining character. And, I thought that, Jarvis did a very, very good job. And it's going to be quite interesting in season 2 and beyond to actually see how Edwin Jarvis affected Tony Stark and affected who affected Jarvis just became such an interesting character, and it's really interesting to see how this character morphs into what we see in the Vision. Because I still believe that the Vision has some frame of reference with Jarvis, and I think this version of Jarvis and Vision are heavily connected. In terms of some of the references that were made in this episode, and I'm gonna sort of finish off here because this is a long review. We get a lot of references to, of course, Captain America, First Avenger. But we get a lot of references to again, Roxxon, which is a huge character, which is a huge thing mentioned in a lot of the Iron Man movies. We get a reference to Ivan Vanko. And more importantly, we get a reference to Leviathan, who is the big bad of this series. And Leviathan isn't really played up very much in the TV show very much, and it really, really should have been played up more. But it was really interesting to see a new like organization amongst the evil organizations that exist in this universe, such as AIM and Hydra. And it appears that Leviathan seems to be connected to Soviet Russia, which I found really, really interesting. So, that's the end of this review, and I'm going to see you guys in the next review. Bye.